Though that if they don't embrace the GA, then in the late game they're actually just going to get completely swept up because of the backline initiation with Nocturne.
Yeah.
And Nocturne can go in and can do a lot of damage, can prevent that displacement that Nunu and Orianna are going to be able to provide. That's the big thing about Orianna as well as Nunu is kind of makes it so it becomes a positional game with her ultimate. And so, I mean, if Nocturne can get in the back, without that GA, if he's diving back there and he's coming back to life and doing a lot of damage, then I'm concerned as to what kind of effect that's going to have in the team fights.
Yeah, well, late in the game, it's always going to be a strong item, but the GA thing is usually about rushing the GA and having it a little bit earlier, like the 30-minute mark. Genja, he might, because Genja usually is like his second or third item. He's usually going for the GA, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it will be kind of more of a standard build. They are kind of trying to pressure out Diamondprox here, though. Alex Itch just going to zone them for a second there, and we'll see if they decide to fight. Both teams have solid level 1s. Curse has a lot of single target bursts with both Ashe and Orianna, so they can pressure them some, but M5, they're comfortable just sitting back. They get the ward down, and they're going to back off. Yeah, and Nunu took that Blood Boil rather than maybe like consume, so it's going to be a little bit harder to maybe steal some jungle, but it's going to give them the speed and the mobility to get away or do a strong level 1 initiation if they decide to do that. But yeah, so it seems like both teams are playing it safe, and I think when there's this much money on the line, that's kind of what we tend to see, and maybe teams not taking as many risks, instead kind of taking it back, playing safe, taking things slow and making sure that they don't mess up and snowball the game early opposing them. Yeah. So we'll have to see. I think one of the big concerns for M5 is going to be the top lane. And Darian's always fantastic in the top lane, but he tends to like to play champions that can push into the tower a lot. And you were saying earlier how M5, they like to just throw you into the tower and use that roaming advantage. Well, Gragas, he has that opportunity. He can, kill minions very quickly. Orianna does it well, so Orianna's going to counter that out some. However, Aurelia in the top lane versus Shen, even though Shen will have an early advantage, Aurelia can push a little bit harder than Shen. So we'll see whether or not Darian decides to go for something like an Ionian Spark. That's been a really common build in the past for Shen. Though usually you see Darian, a lot of times he'll just decide to rush like a Warmogs or something, and particularly on Shen. So he recognizes, yes, he's not going to have the same pushing potential that he would like to, but just having that early tankiness, he could just be unkillable in team fights.
Yeah, I like what you said about Gragas and how you can really shove into the tower with Gragas. And I was actually talking with Scar earlier, and he said that's kind of why you don't see Rise and coming in here Nocturne getting that fear off. He's gonna get it, and he's just gonna get out and play it safe, so he doesn't get collapsed on. But that's why you don't see Rise and some of these other champions played as much, because they don't have the flexibility to shove like a lot of these other champions do. Ooh. Just getting in there.
Yeah, and that's always been the big issue with Rise is, he's very strong throughout the game, but he can't have any backline penetration. So against teams like Nunu, Rise, he can't get into the back line. Diamondprox just, again, time after time, threatening, actually, Maluno here. And same thing with Alex Itch, holding off Orianna here. So you can't get into the back line, but then also, against pushing champions, you can really struggle. And now Nunu is finally making his way up. Diamondprox just sitting here and not allowing Maluno to get into this jungle. Just so evil. Will take some damage, though. He might actually go down. He has the flash, but there's the slow from Zinnik, the exhaust, and Moopsy is trying to chase him down. Another Q and an attack, but Diamondprox just barely able to get range, and now Alex Itch is in danger. He will have to use his flash, but it does slow down Skarner quite a bit, and we'll see how much of an impact that has, but I don't know. Skarner versus Nocturne. Nocturne has a little bit of a jungling speed, so he's going to be able to catch up fine. Versus Skarner, who could fall behind.
Yeah, I really like Diamondprox pushing that early game disadvantage with Nocturne being able to get that fear off and do almost in some cases free damage by getting that fear and just poking a little bit and then getting out like we were seeing him doing there. And he was just getting to push Maluno around, just saying like, you know what, my fear is going to enable me to have an advantage on you. So good on Diamondprox to know when you can take an advantage like that and when you can try to push it.
Yeah, and Genja doing a nice job exchanging with Slepper here, even though he has 50 less attack range than Ashe, but he has the damage advantage. He's actually going in for it. The Valkyrie, they don't have the exhaust this time. Genja getting some nice damage, but very low. He does actually pop his heal. Slepper almost picking that up, and Zinek chasing down Genja, but they'll be able to turn this around. He will get a free slow in a second, and Maluno coming in as well. So actually, Gosu Pepper caught out of position, has to flash. Maluno can't quite get into range.
Yeah, really good of them to get out and not get caught. So, I mean, of course, they didn't have an early ward, so they didn't see that coming. But, you know, they didn't commit too hard and were able to get out. They had to use some summoners, but that's okay. So it's actually going to allow Ashe and Nunu to just kind of push into this tower and, you know, get them to not have as much CS as Curse.
Yeah, so we'll see how they can pressure this, but an early advantage for M5 in the bot lane. Corki's going to get some, you know, free farm while Ashe has to go back. So we'll see Genja actually deciding to port back. So Gosu Pepper's going to be able to pick some of this up, but the big thing is recognizing that Ashe is going back. He doesn't want to lose an advantage there, and it's a tempo exchange. If Ashe went back and Genja didn't, then Genja, you know, could find himself facing off against this Doran without anything of his own. So he's going to go back. That's going to be fine. Getting a cloth armor as well. So he's going to easily be able to win those damage exchanges, despite the fact that Nunu is a great brawler.
Yeah, and with that armor, what kind of advantage? I mean, how big will that advantage hold into the mid game?
Oh, well, it'll be great, but in the meantime, Anguish getting the flash off of the taunt. Diamond Prox getting some nice damage off of Anguish. The big thing is how he decides to itemize. If he decides to go for a Wriggles, then, you know, that's fine. Probably not, though. It'd be very surprising. You know, if he's going for that early GA, and again, Genja, he's one of the ones that, you know, gets it earliest. Him and Nocturne, Diamond Prox probably could get it, but you know, it's going to slow down his damage a little bit, but if it gives him a laning advantage, then it doesn't matter. It's 300 gold. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay. Oh, and here comes Turner coming in. He's going to try to do some damage, but Gragas catches him and gets to throw a barrel right in his face and do a little bit. So Gragas didn't even pretty careful here, otherwise he's going to get jumped. And as Nocturne, if he hits 6 pretty quick here, then it's going to be a real issue. You can come in, you can get that grab and get some early kills, and that's the power of Skarner is really just that ultimate can go in and almost guarantee at least a summoner spell use, but yeah, it can guarantee a kill.
Yeah, so we'll see Alex Ich pushing back Orianna. Once he gets some, you know, nice mana regen, he's going to be able to just power farm. Skarner setting up in the top lane, but Diamond Prox expecting it, saw him drop past the ward, and Gragas is actually catching him out of position. So Darien going to be fighting with Anguish, but there's the red buff from Diamond Prox along with that fear. Maluno going down very quickly, trying to get the flash off, but one more attack does go down. The first blood for Alex Ich.
Yeah, that was a good situation where you're giving the first blood and the kill to Gragas rather than the jungler, so now he's just going to be able to have a bit of an advantage over Orianna, and when you're playing in a passive lane like that, any advantage you can get is going to be huge for if you're trying to do damage exchanges. And because Gragas is doing you know, so much damage, having an early advantage is really going to hurt Orianna going into the mid game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They should generally be pretty safe in lane. It should usually be a free farm lane, but if Nocturne combos with Gragas and forces the engage onto Orianna with his fear and with his ultimate, then Alex Ich can easily just, you know, knock Moopsie back and pick up the kill there with the ultimate. Moopsie will be able to grab the blue, though. Both of them going to get the blue, and we'll see how that kind of continues. And now, you know, Curse, they're starting to fight back in this bottom lane, and you know, the big thing is Zinnik being able to pressure Genja. Every time that they get the snowball onto Corki, they're going to be able to win that damage exchange with that attack speed slow. Yeah,
all of that kiting potential, where if you just get caught out just a slight bit out in the bottom lane, you're going to get chunked with a W from Ashe and a snowball from Nunu. And meanwhile, Gragas is just farming pretty well here. And Alex Siege, of course, one of the better farmers in the game right now. He always has an atrocious amount of CS at the end of the game, especially when you see him playing champions like Gragas and also like Mord. You see him at the end of the game, 400 CS, 450 CS, and he's just a beast.
Yeah, and that's always like the glory of playing in the mid lane, is that it's so much easier to get a lot of farm. Because you're able to steal those wraiths and whatnot, but he's really strong at doing that, being able to push the lane, take the wraiths, and still find time to roam while keeping his farm up. So, you know, really impressive from him. Bot lane, they're able to deny some experience, golden experience, before Ashe is able to get back there. So that's really nice. M5 doing a nice job there. And the big thing is they were diving on the Slepper right before they pushed him out, and they were actually able to burn the exhaust. So, you know, having Nunu's exhaust down, it could maybe open up some kill opportunities for them. Diamond Prox is level 6 though, and once Alex Ich's ultimate is up, they could maybe look for a kill in this mid lane.
Definitely. We haven't seen a lot of Janna play in the recent months. I mean, there was a while where Janna was like first picked every game or at least banned, and she kind of fell out of favor for maybe champions like Soraka and Nunu and Leona and even Alistar. How come we stopped seeing so much Janna play?
We still see her a decent amount. It's just the big thing. Soraka's actually dropped out of favor too. People like more aggressive supports. Nunu can win almost every lane matchup. So it's like, okay, if you want someone to win the laning phase and then still have a lot of pressure in the end game, you pick Nunu. And Nunu can control the backline just as well as Janna. There's the arrow on the Genja, though. They're going to get some nice damage. Genja should be okay to get out of there. Actually turning it around on the Slepper, but has to back off for a second. So Nunu compared with Janna in the laning phase, Nunu is stronger. In the late game, Janna has a little bit more kiting potential. However, Nunu's ultimate can easily control the backline, and the Blood Boil is awesome for your AD. It's better than Janna's shield. So that's like one of the matchups. The next one is Sona. We're starting to see her come back into play.
Yeah.
And Sona, actually Angus jumping in. Diamond Prox following it up. Can't quite get it, but the flash taunt from Darien, the fear, and the red buff from Diamond Prox chasing him down. Will almost be able to pick it up. Skarter, one more attack coming in. They can't quite grab it. So Skarter turning it around. Maluno able to save his comrade there. But Diamond Prox getting very low. They will be able to force this, but Maluno with the hook back. Darien with the taunt. And there's the Shen ultimate. They're able to just barely turn it around. Really nice play from M5. But actually, Alex Ich, he wants it. He's going to try and pick it up underneath the tower. Can't quite reach him.
I can't believe they both got away in that situation. Angus really good to know when to get out. Skarner, clutch save at the last minute. And like that defensive ultimate just to make sure that he was safe. Meanwhile, Ash is just getting the kite and do a lot of free damage here. Oh, and Corki's trying to turn around on him. Oh, Nunu cancels in just a second there.
And you see every single one of those attacks from Slepper is hardly doing anything to Genja. And this is what happens when you have that Cloth Armor. The Ignite from Ghost and Pepper, he goes down, but Slepper's going to go down as well. The perfect exchange from the two of them. And Janna taking that Ignite instead of that Exhaust is really interesting because they have a lot of burst damage with Corki. It allows or Ash to still get in that damage, but having the early armor, going with the Ninja Tabby actually on Genja, which is why he's basically unkillable for Ash right now. And there's the thing, you saw Ash with the Blood Boil, she's just constantly throwing off attacks. Her attack speed is so insane. She was able to just constantly throw off those arrows. And then the slow from Nunu, that's able to usually win fights. And so you can see very easily how they would normally win that matchup. However, with the Ninja Tabby, Genja, every single one of those attacks was taking almost no damage at all. And as a result, they were able to turn around on them. And that's the power of that early Cloth Armor. And now he can just transition into, building his regular fight items while still having an advantage in that bottom lane.
Yeah, it seems like it was a good response to that range differential between Ash and Corki.
It's also considering they don't have an exhaust, and they don't want to just take all that damage to the face and not have a way of dealing with it. Yeah,
really good. And I hardly ever see Janna with Ignite. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen it. So it's interesting response, and it just allows them to be aggressive. And I mean, it's unfortunate that Janna got that kill over Corki in that situation, but I mean, you get what you can take. You take what you can get, and you hang on to it. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Angus is getting chunked out, and that's Darien getting to taunt and just getting to poke at him a little bit here. But I mean, both are farming really well, and Shen, I mean, Aurelia is just going to be a beast going into the late game, as we know, and Angus plays an insane Aurelia. So, but of course, Shen brings that flexibility of the ultimate and the taunt, and is really good on the front line and gets really tanky. So, I'll be excited to see how the matchup goes. If they're just going to keep continuing to farm, or if they're going to try to play a little bit more aggressive on each other.
Yeah, but Angus has been able to keep, or Darien has been able to keep that early advantage of Shen up and not allowing it. The Ash Arrow going onto Alex Ich. They can follow this up. Moopsie pulling the ultimate back into the Maluno ultimate and just chaining all of that CC. The Gragas Barrel trying to help himself out there, but he will go down. Really nice combo there from all of them. They can now transition over to the Dragon. And I was going to say, Darien has done a really nice job of pressuring Aurelia, and Shen has early advantages, but he's actually building into a Sunfire. And so we talked about how he needs that pushing advantage. Aurelia, on the other hand, needs to get some MR to deal with that constant spam harass from Shen. But with that Sunfire, we'll see how he can pressure it.
Yeah, gonna get a pretty easy Dragon here. Oh, actually, they're getting pressured by Diamond Prox going in, getting that fear off. Oh, and then the Jan ult to save and do a little bit of healing. And Curse is gonna just get out of here. Yeah, so good response from Moscow 5 to prevent that dragon and see if they're going to be able to take advantage of that and get this dragon here.
Yeah, they just forced them out 3v4.
Yeah.
And now Diamond Prox, he's going to be able to take this dragon very easily with that Wriggles. Slepper coming around the backside. They might engage on him. Genja can chase him down. We'll have the Valkyrie over the wall. Might be able to pick up this kill. The flash from Slepper. He has to back off. But again, a free dragon. And now Slepper is low in lane. And actually, Gosu Pepper, he's going to tank this. The quick burst with the Ignite. Genja picking up the kill. The flash in from Gosu Pepper. Some awesome support play.
Yeah, that was really good. And I think a lot of that came down to the tankiness of Corki there. Just being able to get in and do a lot of damage and not take a lot of damage. And forced him out, like you said, 3v4. And then Slepper got a little greedy there, at least was going to go for a steal, but I mean, with the aggressiveness and the ability to, the mobility of Corki, was able to just put a stop to that. Ooh, and then meanwhile, Alex is just getting caught out, got caught in that tri-bush.
Yeah, but with the body slam, he gets out of there easily, wanting to get the kill into Anguish. But both Orianna and Skarner coming up there, kind of expecting it. Their blue is also up, so they wanted to get the blue anyway. But first, checking out the tri-bush, just to make sure that Anguish was going to be okay while they're up there. So really nice job. And so far, mid has been very even. Alex Ich with a slight advantage. He also has that Cage's pick, so he can get that DFG. But Orianna definitely doing a nice job as well, and has the cooldown reduction as well as the Chalice. And then with the cooldown reduction from the Fiendish Codex, and then if she gets to the Athene, she'll have Max. But there's Genja, Maluno coming in the top lane. The flash from Maluno, getting the pullback onto Darien even after he got the taunt off. But he is incredibly tanky. He will be able to get out of there. And Diamond Prox actually coming in as well to help him out. Will be fine. But in the meantime, Genja chasing after Slepper. The arrow goes onto Gosu Pepper, so they will back off. But Genja getting very low. Zinnik might actually chase this. The heal, they're able to just barely get out of there. So then turning it around. Genja, one more attack, one more missile. He gets the flash. Can't quite hit it.
Oh, that was pretty close.
Oh, and Diamond Prox, he's caught out here. With the Shen ultimate, they can fight this. The fear onto Maluno. The taunt from Darien. Maluno is getting extremely low with the Ignite as well. Diamond Prox is going to flash in and pick up that kill as Darien tanks the turret for them.
Yeah, that was pretty good. If you look at Shen's life, just basically not moving at all, and we're seeing similar things out of Corki in the bot lane. It's like they're just really, really tanky, and when you go to exchange on a really tanky champion early game, you're just not going to be doing a lot of damage, and you can just really push them out of lane or push it into tower and just use that tankiness to just push your opponent around. So. Really good on Moscow 5 to know how to take advantage of that early tankiness.
And we're starting to see, like you said earlier, the mobility of Moscow 5. And the fact that they like pushing people into the turret. Darien, the entire game, has been throwing Anguish underneath the turret. And as a result, he's able to take a 30 CS advantage from the pressure, but also losing some CS. But then it also opens up opportunities for M5. And the fact that they're 3k gold ahead right now, Darien can split push this top lane. And then, Gragas and Nocturne, they can just roam around and try and pick up kills for M5 as they're pushing them into the tower. And it's going to be very dangerous for Curse, particularly in the bottom lane, where Slepper, they have the CC to win fights, but they don't quite have enough damage to take out the tanky front line.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the farm too to see where this gold differential, and actually, it's pretty close to even in most of the lanes. I mean, there's like a 20 CS difference, but meanwhile, Nocturne is going in and trying to initiate on this.
Yeah, and the fear will proc on the Slepper. He goes down very quickly. Zinnik out of position, throws off the exhaust onto Genja, but can't save him, so he will back off. Darien, in the meantime, dueling with Moopsy. He could actually win this exchange with that Sunfire. He's almost unkillable, and then he will back off. But Gragas trying to see if he can catch off Moopsy in the back. He is trying to recall. If Gragas decides to go in for it, we'll see him, and we'll be able to toss off that barrel into Darien if he gets there fast enough.
Oh, this is going to be really scary for Moops. He's going to have to play real safe. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is going to come up and try to help. If he doesn't do something quick, he's going to get caught out by Skarner and Aurelia. Oh, meanwhile, they're going in. Darien is trying to do some damage. Flash by Moopsy.
Oh, and there's the pullback from Moopsy. The Ignite barely able to take him down. The Ash Arrow missing onto Alex Ich. Can he get the jump over the wall? No, he can't, so he will go down. But they are able to exchange for Orianna. And Gragas actually missing his body slam in the beginning. That might have helped him out a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see. They are able to pressure that. Gosu Pepper coming into the mid lane while Corki's just farming bot by the turret. He knows that he can get some extra farm himself. So really smart decision from him there. And Gragas has that Abyssal Scepter. So that's going to be very strong for this mid game. Just all of that MR reduction. He can just absolutely obliterate people.
Yeah, and really good from Oopsie. Oh, meanwhile, they're trying to initiate on Slepper. Slepper, oh, not a good flash at all. And Janna
the flash
flashing
from
an
Janna.
ultimate.
And Genja's going to be able to pick this up onto Zenik. The slow from Gosu Pepper. They're able to chase this down. Zenik just barely surviving, but Gosu Pepper is going to tank it a little bit. This Ice Ball, he has to watch out. Genja just needs a little bit more mana, one more attack, and getting that Oracles was absolutely huge. Skarner is still up, so he has to deal with the red buff there. He doesn't have quite enough mana for a Valkyrie. He does not have his flash either, so Janna needs to get down here with the Whirlwind. They could maybe turn it around, though, with the damage that they have, along with that shield. Really nice job forcing Molino back.
And again, the tankiness coming in from Corki just early, just enough to like really offset the damage and be able to poke back. And yeah, there's really a significant lead happening in the bot lane, and that's going to be a real issue going in the mid lane. And I guess that's one of the issues when you play Ashe, is your early game is just not really all that great, but you scale so well in the late game if you make it to there, make it there in good shape. And right now, Ashe really isn't in the best of shape. Slepper's kind of been caught out of quite a few times and just being really taken advantage of by that CC ability of Janna. Ooh, meanwhile, the top lane, Darian just getting chunked down and ignited. Just going to get chased out, and it's going to allow Anguish to do some farming and allow him to push the lane.
Yeah, not really expecting to get a kill, but it does open up the potential for him to farm a little bit more safely. And I don't know, we'll continue to see what kind of advantages M5 can press in the bottom lane. The big issue is that Curse can't even lane against them. Every time Slepper walks in the lane, he just dies. And Corki can just repeatedly dive him. Is just so strong right now. Has a lot of burst and has the chasing potential with that Phage. So we'll see how that kind of progresses. Orianna does have a lot of nice cooldown reduction, but M5 able to grab this dragon once again.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that Wriggles on Nocturne. It allows so much dragon control. If if you are caught out of position, or a team fight's just ending, or you're trying to play aggressive on another lane, Nocturne can just kind of sneak in there and get the dragon and kill it pretty quickly. Oh, meanwhile, bot lane just getting chunked down. Nocturne's coming in on Slepper. Poor Slepper's getting burned down pretty quick. And Nunu Zinix just going to get out of there trying to stay alive, and they're going to play it safe and back out and not dive too hard. But yeah, just getting caught out of position. Poor Slepper again, and Nocturne getting in and taking advantage of a lack of warding in that river, and that has a lot to do with Gosu Pepper getting that oracles and clearing things up.
Yeah, and you see they have complete control over the lower jungle, having the control throughout the river, having that oracles as well. But the early advantages for Corki are just so vast. And,
yeah.
Ashe is going to be so weak in the mid game, whereas M5 they're just going to be able to bully them around, and they really need to figure out a way to get Ashe farmed, and it's just not working out for them. Genja taking the golems, but it also lets him come in from behind. It's Zinnik. If it were Ashe, then maybe he'd dive in, try and pick up that kill. Gragas dueling it off with Moopsy, gets some nice damage, but he has to get out of there, gets up the kill, but Anguish with the return, able to take him down.
Yeah, that was the best result of that situation, I guess. Get a kill even though you're going to die. But luckily, Aurelia and Orianna got the assist, Aurelia got the kill, so that's going to help him in the top lane, being a little bit, being able to do a little bit more damage against Shen. But man, Darian just farming really well, level 15, so just doing some work in the top lane, just sticking it out, and that's. The tankiness of Shen allows him to just kind of hang out, and you can dive out of there, and you can just play pretty safe even by playing aggressive.
Yeah, and getting that early Sunfires, not only can he push and whatnot, but even though Aurelia now is starting to win the damage exchanges and can chase down Shen, there's not a lot that Anguish can do with it.
Yeah.
Anguish, he can push Shen out of lane, but he can't get any kills because Shen's just too tanky. It takes too long to take him down. And as a result, Darian can just constantly keep on counter pushing and be very safe in that lane while, still having his ultimate for the other lanes. So it's going to be very difficult for them, for Curse to continue to win fights, and now Darian actually going into that attack speed build, so either a Wit's End or a Ionian Spark. We'll see where he goes. Probably a Wit's End at this point, having the Sunfire already, but both would be very strong items. And yeah, it's going to be very tough because he can constantly split push that top lane and open up opportunities for M5 around the map.
Yeah, and this is generally what M5 tends to do, is they get like this early advantage, and they farm up well and they push the lanes. And then they get a GA, and it makes them even more tanky and even more sustainable. So they get in there, they can do a lot of damage, they can take risks because they have that GA to fall back on. And I think that's going to be a real issue for Curse. But Alex Each kind of just floating around trying to make plays, but has that ability to get out when he needs to. So he's just he's going to try to do something, but in the meantime he's going to play safe until until the time is right.
Yeah, and you were asking who would get it, and Genja is going to be building towards that. So the big thing is that Slepper is so far behind. Genja is so far ahead in his item build. He already has a lot of damage with that Triforce. It allows him to have that GA and just dive after Slepper, pick up those kills. The slow, the knock-up, Nocturne coming in as well into the Nunu ultimate with the flash from Slepper trying to get out of there, but dies almost instantly, and Diamond Prox can tank that with the Shen coming behind. Zinnik is going to be chased down as well, and M5 is in complete control. The knockback into the DFG from Alex Ich doesn't quite have enough damage, but if he gets it, he's very close. The Ignite, but the pullback from Moopsy could maybe turn this around, almost taking down Alex Ich, but he's going to be fine to get out.
Yeah, that was a significant amount of damage, and Moscow 5 is just punishing the bottom lane. Like, they get away from their tower. Like, even if they just go into the lane and they get absolutely smacked. And Angus is going to go in and try to do some damage on Diamond Prox and see if he can do anything before he reaches this tower. And Diamond Prox is just getting some damage off, and Aurelia is just going to try to push hard. But Alex Ich is a little too low to actually come in here, I think. And so just going to farm and sit back and play it safe in this situation.
Yeah, so he's going to be fine. And Genja and Ghost Pepper, they got into the bush right before Curse could see him, and Slepper going to go down once again. Just the quick burst. Dear God, M5 is crushing Curse in the bottom lane.
Slepper, that poor bastard, is just getting totally messed
that
up.
heartless bastard.
Whenever he gets in the lane, they just jump on him, and that's and Janna and the mobility of Genja in this situation, they can do that. It's like you just show your face and they can jump on you, flash in, do a bunch of damage, and I mean, if you start looking at the farm now it's starting to become a situation. It's not just about kills, it's about farm, and it's about levels. And I mean, what Slepper's level 11 compared to Genja's 14.
Yeah,
so we're looking at
insane.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of an advantage. And that's that's a problem with Ashe. Like, if you get punished that hard and you fall behind, you fall way behind, and you got to really scale and wait for that late game. But he can't even do that. He can't sit back and wait for the late game. Oh, meanwhile, Darian might get caught out here. But Diamond Prox comes in and it kind of scares them off. But yeah, they want to wait for that late game, and they're not really going to be able to do that because they're going to get just pushed way too hard.
Yeah, I was just imagining like a, I don't know, the Visa check card commercial or something like that, and being like, Ignite, 1,000 gold, Triforce, 3,000 gold, Slepper, worthless. So
I use MasterCard.
Oh,
actually,
MasterCard, okay.
Is that even around?
I don't know. I think they are, but they're able to take the turret, they're able to back out of there, and get some nice control. Oh, the steal! Oh no, Moopsy was able to take it. A minor victory for Curse.
Yeah, one of very few victories for them in this match. And Skarner's gonna, he got that grab off on Alex Ich, and Alex Ich is getting pulled back. I use that ultimate, gets a lot of damage, and they're just trying to burn down Alex Ich here pretty quick.
Oh, and it just, how much pressure it takes to take him down. They almost can't do it. Zinnik will go down as well, but he has the slow for Genja. They're actually able to turn it around. Malunu's very low, but Genja has to get out of there. Diamond Prox coming in. Here he is. He wants to turn things around. The fear, the whirlwind. He picks up the kill on the Moopsy, and Slepper just has no damage in that entire fight. But you saw Alex Ich did end up going down, but with the Shen ultimate and with how farmed they are, how much of an effort it is. And Alex Ich going for the GA. They don't even care. They know how far ahead they are. They know they have plenty of burst damage now. And the GA, it allows him to play closer to the back line where he can get in on Slepper and burst him down. He can get in on Orianna and burst Moopsy down and not have to worry about them kiting him.
Well, it allows him to be like hyper aggressive and just even sloppy at times. Just get in, just try to do as much damage as you can at the cost of your own health.
Gragas, he isn't drunk. So.
Yeah, he does have an awesome beard. So Gragas the sloppy drunk. It's a metaphor for life.
Nick Allen.
Nick Allen. But yeah, to get in, just be sloppy and do a lot of damage. And I mean, if you look at Nocturne with the armor and the Aegis, like, just gonna live a really long time. So can dive in and can do a lot of damage to that backline, and they're gonna try to burn him down. They're gonna use all those cooldowns, but it's gonna take away the attention from other things, like away from Gragas and away from Genja, and they're gonna be able to do just tons of damage. So just really pushing that tanky advantage that they have, and they know how to use it.
Yeah, and Slepper just now finishing a 28-minute Infinity Edge. So that kind of stinks. I mean, he's been doing a nice job of farming, despite the fact that he's almost never in lane. So
where's that farm coming from?
Yeah, it's a miracle. But yeah, we'll see how that's going to kind of continue to progress. Genja actually transitioning away, so doesn't actually go immediately for that GA, and he wants to make sure that they can keep up damage because Curse, even with M5 this far ahead, they're starting to get deep in their builds. Genja, that last fight with Zinnik's Snowball, I think that was kind of what threw him off. And Zinnik with the Snowball, Genja was dealing almost no damage. And I think with the last fight, he was starting to get a little bit concerned. He's like, I guess I need to keep building damage. So won't be able to transition into that GA yet. We'll have to get something else like an Infinity Edge or a Bloodthirster would work very well. But Genja coming in, trying to steal it. But Slepper, he has plenty of damage now with that red buff, the Ash Arrow, and Genja is actually able to get out of there with Darian's support. And so they will be fine.
Yeah, really good Shen buff and just scaring them out. But I mean, again, that was where he's just like, I'm just gonna go real aggressive and I'm just gonna dive in here and try to steal this red. And there was a little surprise Nunu action happening in there, and so he was lucky that Shen, had the ult up and come in and save him. But yeah, just playing really aggressive, and that's what you can do when you're that tanky. Meanwhile, Nocturne just getting dragged out of there, going to try to do a lot of damage here to Diamond Procs and burn him down quick. Meanwhile, Alex is just diving right in, trying to do a lot of damage while Corki sits in the back. Valkyrie's out and just sits back and does damage, and they're just getting, Curse is just getting wrecked at this point. They're just so tanky. They can only take down maybe Diamond Procs before the rest of the team comes in and just absolutely cleans up.
Yeah, no, it's just such a serious effort for Curse to take down any of them. And Aurelia was able to pick up the kill on the Diamond Procs, almost able to get Genja. The flash from Diamond Procs, Skarner was able to get the pull through it, but Alex Ich, he has the red buff. It does proc on his body slam, so there's the quick kill. He's able to take him down while Darian is pushing the mid lane. And I don't know, the big thing is this, Ashe is okay in these fights, and they're able to keep Ashe alive through the fights, but for most part, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that M5 isn't even, caring about her because she doesn't have enough damage. Alex Ich is able to burst them down along with Darian, able to pick up another kill onto Nunu and just continue to farm. And they have such a huge gold lead that I don't know, there's not a lot of options. And Curse, there's no way they can build into GAs just because of how far behind they are. If they were to get GAs, they would just have nowhere near M5's damage output.
Curse is in a really bad spot. They want to play safe and sit back and try to farm, but with the aggression, capabilities of Nocturne and Shen to be able to dive in and taunt, like they can't play safe. There's not a whole lot of options for them at this point, and hopefully they can just maybe get some good engages, get caught out like in the top lane. Corki's getting chased down by Aurelia, trying to do what she can, but it's hard at this point. Meanwhile, Gragas and Nocturne are going to come up and try to catch him out of place, and
yeah,
so I mean that's the thing.
Should be okay, but
yeah,
there's so much pressure from M5, and now they can start pushing. Corki still wants it though, so they can just put pressure on the map and steal the blue buff and steal objectives,
and be hyper aggressive and sloppy play. And yeah, I mean, Moscow 5 looking really strong in this game. They know how to push the advantage, and they know how to snowball a lane pretty well, and that's what they were doing in bot. They were just forcing exchanges and just doing a lot of damage, and just limited their AD carry to anything. Ooh, meanwhile, the Ashe are coming in. They're going to try to do some damage to the grab from Skarner, too.
Yeah, and Alex Ich pulled in the middle of the team. The Orianna ultimate, but Slepper dies almost immediately. Maluno as well will face a lot of pressure. And Aurelia had dove Genja, but he's able to chase her out. Moopsy will go down, and Corki able to grab Aurelia, now grabbing Zinnik. That is it. M5 has such a huge lead. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a surrender from Curse really quickly, because M5 just, the flash from Ghost of Ever, there it is.
Yeah,
the surrender. Yeah. They have no options in this game. M5 obliterating them.
Ouch. I'm not sure